This is a demonstration of the MyMoments app and the various features and functions that are available. From the main screen, I'll begin by selecting Load Image, and from here the various albums that are on my device appear. I'm going to select this album and this particular image, which is a photograph I took at the beach actually a couple of weeks ago. So this is the main screen, and across the top there are 4 anchors: Compose, Tune, Style, and Finish. This provides a suggested structure for the process of self-expression, but you don't need to follow those in that particular sequence. And for each of the anchors, the options that are available appear on the left-hand side. So I'll start by composing my image, and I'm going to select Crop. And from here, it's simply a matter of dragging the corners and the edges and moving the composition around until I get it just the way that I'm looking for. And then I simply press on the green check mark to accept that change. The rotate and the straighten options work exactly the same. Now I'll move to tune my image, and here I get 5 new options: brightness, contrast, tint, vibrance, and warmth. And I can select any of those options. I'll start with warmth, and then I can simply take my finger and swipe it to the left or to the right to adjust the intensity of that particular effect. So I'm going to adjust my warmth just a little bit to right about there, and I'll press the green check mark, and then I'll select vibrance, and again just take my finger and swipe it to the left or the right until I get it just the way I like it, which is right about there. So then I'll press the green check mark, and that's my new image. Now I'll move into the style area, and you'll see there are 3 categories of styles: realistic styles, impressionist styles, and abstract styles. And this is just an accordion that I can open or close to view each set of different options. So I'll start under realistic, and I'll start by pressing on the antique style. And here again, just by taking my finger and swiping it to the left or the right, I can apply that effect. Now here I don't really want to use this antique filter, so I can simply press on the red X to cancel that. But I'll show you some of the other options just so that you can see some of the ways that the image can be changed. This is the highlight option, and again I'll X out of that one. X-ray makes quite a dramatic change to the image. I'll X out of that one. If I test on edges, you'll see it highlights the edges of all the objects. And if I move into areas like squares, you can see it kind of creates a mosaic with the image of different levels of intensity. I'm going to X out of that. And the final category is the abstract styles. So if I select gravel, I can apply gravel across the image, or I can do things like ripples, like this. And I'm Xing out of each one of these. I can also put effects on top of each other. So if I select blur, I can blur the image. I'll blur right like that. And then let's say I go and I apply the cartoon on top of the blur. You see this kind of interesting effect that I get. Now again, I don't want to make that particular change to the image, so I'm going to press on the red X. And now I had accepted the blur change before, but you'll notice in the top right there is an undo button. And it's impossible to really make a mistake because I can always undo any change, or I can redo it. So by using these arrows I can go backwards and forwards. So now I'm looking at my image and I want to start telling a story. And if you remember, the edges function actually just applied an outline effect, but the way we did it before was we applied it to the entire image. That's because if you notice in the top left, there are always 2 ways to apply every effect: a paint can or a paint brush. The default is the paint can, where I was swiping my finger to the left or the right on the image. But if I select the paint brush, I can then actually take my finger and paint that effect into any part of the image. And you'll notice that I'm doing that now on top of this structure. And it's really just highlighting all the edges, and it's only doing it in that particular localized area. And this is a way that all effects in the app can be applied, and this is very powerful because I can use this to adjust certain areas to tell a story, because after all, it's all about self-expression. So now I'm done applying the edges, and I'm looking at this, and I start to recognize that the structure looks somewhat isolated now, and perhaps I want to start using that to tell a story because I've experienced some isolation in my life as well. So I'm going to press on the green check mark and accept that change. So as I'm thinking about this, thinking about isolation in my life, but also recognizing that I do see some more positive times ahead. So I'm going to go back into the tune area, and if I select tint, and again the paint brush instead of the paint can, with my finger on the horizon, I can paint tint that starts to really highlight and bring out a really nice color on the horizon, perhaps to represent, again, these more positive times that I see ahead of me in life. And I like how this is starting to tell a story, so I'm going to press on the green check mark. And then I notice this different vegetation in the bottom right corner of the image. So I'm going to go back into Style, and if I select the highlight option and the brush, and I paint again that highlight function just into that area, I can bring that out and the texture of it. And I might be thinking as I'm doing this that this represents various obstacles that I still know that I need to overcome in my life. And so you'll see how I'm starting to tell a story, and I will now press on the green check mark to accept that. So actually, if I take my finger and I press it anywhere in the image, I can see what the original photograph was and my new image. And this is often a way that participants who use the app use to kind of compare what the photograph was and now how they've turned that into a deeply expressive image. Finally, I'll go into the finish step, and I'm going to add a caption, which is often a very helpful way to kind of summarize the story that I was telling. And in this case, I'm going to put a caption on that says, "My journey ahead." And then once I've put that caption in, if I select the green arrow, the green check mark, I now have made that part of my image. If I select frame, I can pick, let's say, a soft frame to kind of finish off the image. Again, the check mark. And when I'm all done, I press save. And what this does is it saves the actual image on my device. And now it's giving me the option of whether I want to send this to the MyMoments program. If I don't want to share this with anybody, I can simply press on the X and cancel that part of it and just save it for myself. But in this case, I want to share my image because let's say I'm a participant in a program and I want to be able to share that with the group. And now it's telling me that that image has been both saved and sent successfully. And if I say keep working, I can now see my image. And that's an overview of how the MyMoments app works. Thank you very much.